Hello and welcome back to some more Baldur's Gate 3. So today we are going to do a damage rider build for the new 5.5e mod. Because the mod changes sharpshooter, one of the main sources of damage for damage rider builds in vanilla BG3, we've I've had to rethink exactly how to rebuild damage rider builds in 5.5, and I think I've found a way that works. So this build came about because I wanted to recreate Cassidy from Overwatch here into BG3.
It's high noon.
I've already done Widow, so I thought Cassidy shouldn't be that much of a problem, and the Ricochet ability from the Trickshot subclass of the Gunslinger was perfect for it. However, what I found was a pure Gunslinger, which is what Cassidy is, just did not have the ability to output that much damage to make Ricochet useful, even with the damage riders that we had and used from vanilla BG3 and transpose that into 5.5e. So we had to find another way, and the best way is Wizard. Essentially, 7 levels of Sangromancy Wizard will fix the damage rider problem. It will give us uh, two of the best damage rider spells out there. One is a concentration, one is not. And another is a reaction spell, but we can't use it on our own attacks. We have to use it on attacks made by others, but it is a damage rider spell similar to, say, a paladin smite, but necrotic damage, but can use, wait for it, up to a 1d12. That's right. So let's get to it. For this build, race doesn't really matter. Play what you want. I mean, there are more optimal choices. Halfling, you get halfling lucky because you are rolling a lot of dice, so negating that chance for a nat 1 is great, but really, it doesn't really matter. What really matters is background choice, because that background choice gives you a feat, and the feat that you want attached to your background is Savage Attacker. Savage Attacker lets you roll your damage dice and take the highest result. So that is what you want. Other than that, pick whatever your choice. So at level 2 Gunslinger, you are going to get critical shot, bite the bullet, blind fire, and dodge roll. Bite the bullet, blind fire, and dodge roll aren't going to be that useful to you because they use up your bonus action, but you really want to save your bonus action for your level 3 subclass ability. So keep them in mind, but also be aware that you're probably not going to touch them very, very often. What is really good though is critical shot. Critical shot reduces the requirement for criticals by going down by 1. So instead of just critting on a 20, you crit on a 19 and a 20. So again, this makes this build both a great start for a damage rider build as well as a crit fisher build. So yeah, that's what makes this very, very powerful. Then at level 3, you get to pick your gunslinger subclass. You want to go to pick Trickshot, and yeah, the most important ability here is Ricochet. Creative trajectory doesn't really matter. We're going to duplicate that on top with another feat we're going to get later on, but Ricochet is your key ability. Ricochet is essentially arrow of many targets made into a class ability. And yes, it is as fun as that sounds. It does use, instead of just your action, which is the arrow of many targets does use, it requires your bonus action and your action at the same time. It will use up both of those. This, I think, is an okay trade-off for having arrow of many targets on demand, and you should still stock up with as many arrows of many targets as you can because you can use it for your second shot. But yeah, this is your signature ability and what most of those videos at the very start of the video came from. At level 4 Gunslinger, you are going to get your very first feat. For all that is good and holy, please pick Firearm Specialist. This allows you to ignore the loading property of firearms. It does a lot of other things which you already have, but that other thing, oh, it also lets you add your ability score modifier to your damage, but that's minimal. We are adding so many damage rider dice that that really doesn't count. But yes, you want to be able to ignore the loading property of firearms because to reload a firearm, you need to use your bonus action. And we are going to use our bonus action in tandem with our action, first action, to use Ricochet. So, yes, please pick Firearm Specialist. You're going to thank me later. And then at level 5, we are going to get our second attack. Again, a very good reason as to why you should pick Firearm Specialist at level 4 for your feat, because once you hit level 5, you're going to get 2 attacks, and you do not want to be not being able to use your second attack because you use your first attack and bonus action to do Ricochet, first of all. So yeah, remember this. Alright, but the other good thing you get at level 5 is Gutshot. Now this is a class ability for Gunslinger. What this does, it is halves the speed of anyone you critically hit and gives them disadvantage on attack rolls for a minute. That's essentially the entire combat. That's 10 rounds of combat. I very rarely had to go beyond 5 rounds of combat, even for the hardest bosses. I think the only one that I've done that is Grim, when I tried to just completely ignore the hammer, ignore his resistances, and see if I could just power my way through using slashing, piercing, um, and all the other damage types he's resistant to, with the exception of just bludgeoning, just to see if I could actually do it. And yes, you can, it just takes a really, really long time. So at level 6, we are going to take our first level in Wizard, and we are never going to look back at Gunslinger. Again, same as, very simple, just straight Wizard up until level 3. This is where you're going to start getting your Sangromancy abilities. Now, this is where it gets a little bit complicated, so stick with me. Because 5.5 reintroduced the notion of hit dice back into the game. Hit dice is essentially how you get your hit points, okay? So, the dice that you roll to get your hit points is equal to your hit dice. So, for sorcerers and wizards, this is a 1d6. For rogues, monks, and warlocks, it's a 1d8. For paladins, rangers, and fighters, it's a 1d10. For a barbarian, it's a 1d12. Okay? That's fairly simple. Now, Sangromancy wizards get their normal 1d6 as being a wizard. But once they hit level 3, they get a special pool of Sangromancy hit die that is a 1d12. Alright? This pool is equal to their wizard level plus 1. So, you are actually, as a gunslinger slash Sangromancy wizard, going to have 3 pools of hit dice to choose from. You're going to have your wizard pool of 1d6s. That's, you're going to have 7 of those because you have 7 levels of wizard. So you have 7 1d6 hit dice. You're going to have 5 uh, dice of 1d8 because you are 5 levels of Gunslinger, which uses a 1d8. Then you're gonna have 8 dice of 1d12 because Sangromancy gets their wizard level plus 1 as their Sangromancy hit dice of D12s. So it does get a little bit complicated because of this build, so I had to call that out. And it kind of looks like this at the higher levels. But all you have to keep in mind is the engine that they built for BG3 will actually show you if you highlight or hover over the ability you want to use. It will light up below what it's drawing from, right? So if it's going, you cast a first level spell and it's an action to cast, it's going to highlight the action and the first level slot. See? So it does the same thing for hit dice. If you're going to cast a Sangromancy spell and you pick which dice you want to pick, it will tell you if you have enough and it means everything's all good, or it will flash red when you don't have enough of a particular resource. That's all you have to remember, and you can play the game pretty much as normally. That's it. And by wizard level 3, so character level 8, you are Gunslinger 5, wizard 3. You're pretty much done. Everything else is just gravy on top. The only other massive buff that you will get is at character level 10, wizard level 5, when you will get access to third level spells and gain access to flame arrow spell. Flame arrows adds a further 1d6 fire damage to your damage riders. So, and it is a non-concentration, so you can stack it on top of Bloodbane Rune. And yeah, so everything else just keeps getting better. All the other levels you're adding to Wizard is basically just trying to get higher level spell slots to upcast Bloodbane Rune to get more damage. So, what does that actually look like? What does a level 5 gunslinger, trickshot, plus 7 levels in wizard, sangromancy, look like when in damage rider terms? This is what it looks like. So, your damage dice for your rifle, which you're going to be using a rifle because the Grimshot rifle gives you another -1 to your crit chance, so that's what we want to use, is 2d6. Plus the enchantment on that is a +2, plus your ability modifier +5. So +7, 2d6 +7 is your damage for your weapon only. This damage is applied to full on the very first target, and this is halved for every other target after that. Okay, so you can adjust this by +1 here and a plus another +3 there with a few other abilities, but it's all negligible. What we want are the damage riders. So, damage riders, here we go. For Bloodbane Rune, you can cast it at 4th level, highest as a 7th level wizard, so you can get 4d4 extra radiant damage. Flame Arrows is an extra 1d6 fire damage. The Hell Dust Gloves gives you a further 1d6 fire damage. And the Strange Conduit Ring, because you are concentrating on Bloodbane Rune, this procs, giving you another 1d4 psychic damage, and the Hag's Ring comes, I believe, is a 5.5 mod specific ring, but it does add a +2 extra psychic damage every time you do psychic damage. So that's another +2 psychic. So adding it all up, we have 2d6 plus 2 plus 5 that that is going to be halved at every other one. But you have 2d6 plus 5d4 damage that is going to be spread out to 3 other targets that you hit. Potentially 3 other targets. You could miss one of them, but at this point in the game, you're really not going to. So yeah, this is why this damage. And also, remember, you are not only a damage rider build, you are a crit fisher build. So most likely you're going to crit. So this is what it looks like when you crit. Yeah, yeah. That's why this is a very fun build. But yeah, that is it for me. Again, have fun with this. The build does pretty much cover everything at uh, character level 10. So Gunslinger 5, Wizard 5, you pretty much have all the spells. You don't have that fourth level slot to get that extra 1d4, but you could instead maybe throw in 2 levels of fighter for accent surge. I don't know. It's your choice. You decide. Anyway, that's it for me. And thanks for watching. And as Maul
Thanks.
says,
See you in Baldur's Gate, I hope. Now scram, before I get emotional.